Good afternoon, and welcome to the Achievery and a webinar on how the Achievery by AT&T can help you in your classroom, but also help students and parents at home who are struggling through some learning issues, especially with new content. My name is Jess. On behalf of Connected Nation AT&T, I'm super excited to be here today and discuss some of the features about the Achievery and how you can use it at home. Joining us is Sandra. She is a middle school teacher out of Tennessee and has a lot of experience with working with kids, especially those who maybe struggle a little bit more. She's done some tutoring and some specialized focus content with them. And so she's going to talk a little bit about her experience and what tends to be a struggle for both students and parents when homework is assigned or when new content comes in and they're learning new concepts. And then also how the Achievery can benefit you in your home if you are living through that kind of stuff. So Sandra, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us. All right, so Sandra, tell us a little bit about your experience just kind of working with kids in both in and out of the classroom and some of the struggles that you've seen these students kind of go through.
So I work with middle school kids, and we all know that middle school kids just always love to do all their work, right? Um, so um, when they don't finish in class, they have to take it home. Um, and then they've forgotten half of what you've told them in class. And so they're asking their parents. So their parents they don't remember what they did. So a lot of the times they come back to school and they're like, I didn't know how to finish it. So how do you get them to do their work at home when their parents are just as clueless as they are?
No, exactly. And I mean, I'm going to be honest, I even homeschool my kids and I have to look up concepts. I was a middle school math teacher and I had to teach formulas that I hadn't used since I was in middle school or high school, and had to look up and Google and watch YouTube videos to remember how to do certain things. So if parents don't have the time to do that a lot of the times or don't know that they have those kind of resources available, it can definitely be a challenge for them to help their kids with homework. And I guess you're hearing that often, right? Hey, I didn't know how to do
Yes.
it. Um, what are some of the resources that you already use to help your students, like suggest to them to be able to use at home?
So we do a lot of we use Edpuzzle, which is kind of like they take videos from YouTube and then add in questions and stuff. Or we'll use like Quizlet, where it gives them flashcards and such. And then there's what else is there? Oh, there's quizzes, which is kind of like just repeating questions we've done in class to kind of spark their imagination, their memory. And then from there, usually the kids just Google whatever they think that they can come up with, and it's usually wrong.
Absolutely. No, it's definitely a challenge. One of the webinars that we've had recently, we talked with a parent who did homeschool and was using the Achievery, and she had mentioned how beneficial it is to know that you can trust the content. So just hearing you say like they're googling stuff and a lot of times the answers are wrong, that's an issue, right? Parents could probably be doing the same thing. I know I've googled stuff and just first answer that pops up, I'm like, okay, all right, good, we can put that in and I can help my kid with their study guide for a test or whatever, and come to find out it's not actually accurate. And so I imagine having a reliable resource is very important to help these parents and the students alike, so they're not learning things that are wrong. So I'm going to take us into the Achievery now for those of you who are joining us and watching and want to know a little bit more about it. And we're going to talk about some of the benefits that you're going to find in the Achievery and why they could be useful for you. So I will say I'm super excited. Just want to share with you guys the Achievery just got a huge makeover. So it just came out the first of this year. It's really been pushing. AT&T has done a wonderful job. If you haven't attended any of our webinars before and you don't know about the Achievery, it is a free online platform. It is a great resource for information for teachers, for students, for parents, just anybody. It's free to set up an account. They send out these amazing newsletters that you can opt in for on a pretty much a monthly basis that kind of highlight specific content, and they're always bringing in new stuff. Every quarter there's 100+ new videos that are being brought in, and the content contributors, these collaborators, I'm going to scroll down here and show you a list of them, are just endless. There's so many familiar names and probably some you haven't heard of before, but these are already established creators who have paired with AT&T to make the Achievery look familiar to students and parents and teachers, but also be able to provide this free content. So you have things like Cartoon Network, Warner Brothers Discovery, here Scratch. If you guys do anything in programming, Scratch is amazing for kids. They have so much content and it's 100% free through the links that you'll find here in the Achievery. You can set up accounts for Scratch as well as most of these. Bottle's another one. I know my kids, the younger kids, they really love Bottle. Girls Who Code. It's just a ton of different resources, right? A variety of collaborators. So you're not getting content created by one specific creator. And I think that really opens up the opportunity to have a vast amount of ideas and approaches to different concepts. So it's a really cool resource that you have here. But we're going to talk about how you can use the Achievery, how you as a teacher like Sandra can use the Achievery as a benefit to the parents and students at home. And so what would you say is your favorite thing about the Achievery, Sandra?
Probably the videos are great, but then the fact that there's lesson plans to go with everything.
Yes, lesson
Mm.
plans are great whether you're an educator or a parent, and I'm going to show you guys why. Let's click on here. We're going to just search by topic. You can always search by topic. You can search by grade level. You can search by content creator. A lot of new things. This is all new to the Achievery as well. So this screen that you see right here of how to search has been updated, upgraded as ATT is constantly making this even easier for us to use. Once you select a subject, if you'd like, you can sort by grade level, but we're just going to go down here and just pick one of these videos. So let's do multiplying fractions and mixed numbers. Oh, like favorite, least favorite type of things, right? Like takes you back to math that hurt your brain.
Mm.
Once you click on a lesson, you can scroll on through. It does tell you who contributed to this lesson. So which content creator brings this lesson to you for free through the AT&T platform called the Achievery, what the lesson's going to include. And then right here, you'll see button or buttons that kind of put in the categories that this lesson falls into. Now, what does that mean? What it means is for this one, this content is 100% based on math. However, there are some of these videos that they cover math and science or math and social and emotional learning because they talk about decision making and using that when figuring word problems. And so there could be a couple of different categories that you see listed under your lesson plan here. Scroll down here, there could be one or multiple videos. Sometimes there's a series of these videos, but within this video is usually they're about about a minute to 5 minutes tops, you'd say, Sandra,
Yeah.
for this content, and it's just a clip to show your students and parents. This is really helpful to kind of refresh their memory, like Sandra was talking about earlier, refresh that memory of what they went over in class, but the helpful tool for you that Sandra talked about is this lesson plan. So we're going to take a look into this. Sandra, tell me, what is one of the first things that you notice about this lesson plan that strikes out to you for as a teacher?
It's got the standards, so you know exactly. Well, the teacher's gonna know what that means. The parent might not, but
Right, but it can be really helpful as a teacher to say, hey, parents, this is the standards that we're looking at and the concepts that we're teaching. And so they know where to look or what's going to qualify. And again, like we talked about, it helps to add a little bit of that legitimacy to what you're looking at. If this lesson plan is telling you these are the Common Core standards that this lesson falls under, you're going to feel more confident that it's legitimate information, that it's not something that's false. Up at the top, it'll tell you the grade or grades that are covered under this lesson plan as well. And then parents, it breaks it down for you. And this is great for educators. I know I've used it as a homeschool parent. Sandra and I were talking earlier about, some that she's been able to use for her class. Sometimes we have a hard time putting together a lesson that's going to be different. Like that's not something the kids have just had repeat over and over and over again. And so that's where these come in great handy. And for parents, of course, who aren't always putting together lesson plans, a way for you to learn about the concept, but also engage your student. What would you say vocabulary is, Sandra?
vocabulary is very important. You're not gonna know anything about any topic, and then the teacher's gonna be using these words, and then you're gonna be as lost as last year's Easter egg. So
Absolutely. I love that example because I've been there, done that. But no, vocabulary is really important. Like you said, it's something that's going to pop up over and over again. And if your student is not listening in class, and then they have to do an assignment that includes all of these words, and they don't know what those words are because they weren't paying attention, it can be very difficult for them to complete that assignment. And they're going to say, I didn't know how to do my work. And so I didn't do it. So it's a great refresher for you parents, but also an opportunity for them to revisit some of that familiar vocabulary that maybe they zone out on during teaching. And then it's going to include activities. So these activities walk the students through from it starts off pretty easy and then it can eventually get a little bit more hard, or more difficult, more hard. Okay, we're not language arts today, right? More difficult, but there's also additional challenges to kind of put a little bit extra on them so that they're diving in. Then it gives you the answers down here as the educator as well, so parent or teacher, whoever's working through it. But the thing I want to talk about, Sandra, you mentioned that you use additional resources outside of the classroom, as well as inside the classroom. Yes.
Yes.
Okay. And then are these resources that your students have accounts with, that you have an account with? How does that usually work?
So it's usually done through the district. So like I'll have an account, and as long as I have the account, my students then too have access to it. And they usually just have to use their student Google information and log in through Google.
Perfect, perfect. So one of the benefits that I kind of hinted on earlier with the Achievery that I feel like can take what you're talking about and expand it a little bit are these free accounts and access that a lot of these content collaborators have offered. So most of the time you'll be able to scroll through a lesson plan. At the very bottom is going to tell you, hey, here's access to our entire website or to our entire program, and it's 100% free. And the parents and students, they can sign up. And that way, it doesn't have to be tied to a specific teacher or classroom, and it doesn't have to be tied to a specific email address. That goes through the school, right? They can have the parents can have access, the students can have access. They can use it for other students in their household, other children that they have. But it's a really cool opportunity to expand past what the typical learning programs that they've been involved in offer. And so while the Achievery itself, if we go back here and look at this is just a video. It's just going to play for about 3 minutes. It's not going to pop up questions for the students to answer, right? It's just an informational packed video that goes over a certain concept or gives an example of a concept. And so it's not as engaging as Quizlet, for example, that's going to constantly be popping stuff up. Or what was the one you said, ask questions halfway through the video?
That's a quizzes or the Ed
Quizzes.
puzzle.
Ed puzzle. Yeah, I've seen a lot of
Yeah.
those too. So it plays a video, but it stops and pops up a question, right? We don't
Right.
have that here with the Achievery just yet. But what we do have is not only a lesson plan to engage, but additional resources that then you can take and be able to create those accounts for free. All of them are for free. And so that's very useful. Sandra, how would you advise for students and parents alike to be able to take advantage of the Achievery?
Well, first, kind of getting the word out there, let teachers should be letting their kids know, hey, like let's take a look at this, and then like show their kids like what cool features there are, get them interested so that maybe they go home and tell their parents about it. And then you can always just kind of parent teacher conferences or newsletters or email, however. I know our district has parent square or whatever. Let them know that it's there more than assigning it to them. Get them interested in it so that they want to go to the website.
I love that. I love that. It's an approach that we haven't talked about before is kind of giving them that little bit of a taste of it, but instead of it being like, hey, here's your homework, and therefore they feel like this pressure, oh, I have to do it. But giving them the opportunity to be selective in the resource that they use. And I think that's probably one of the many benefits of the Achievery is that there are so many resources all on this one platform. And so it's just a kind of a encyclopedia for parents to be able to use in order to learn about some of the concepts that their students are learning in school, but also engage their students at home, especially over, well, What are we doing right now in
Fall
Tennessee?
break.
We're a fall break, right? So right now, students are not learning. Uh, I know it's quite a bit of a challenge when students come back from break. What is that mentality? What do you hear all of the time?
I wanna go home, go to bed.
Nothing. I didn't want to do anything. I've completely been unengaged all through fall break, and now I have to come back to school, and I don't remember anything I learned before the break. And so I can't do this new stuff. So offering them an opportunity to have something a little bit more fun and engaging to jump into, I think is great, and it's only going to help. It's not going to hinder anything. All right. Well, Sandra, thank you so much for your time. Is there anything else that you'd like to add about maybe the Achievery or maybe just some of the challenges that you see with these students who struggle with these new concepts or with understanding things in the classroom? Maybe some that have attention issues or whatever, and how these two can kind of pair together.
So it's usually attention. They don't like, they've got their phones, their video games, they've got all this in front of them. So you give them this worksheet to take home and they're completely uninterested in this piece of paper you've given them to take home. So I think the fact that, it's got the videos and it's got the activities. So again, they've got this computer in front of them. Well, now they've got a video that they can watch, and they may not even realize, like, hey, I'm learning from this video because all they see is I'm watching this video on my screen.
Awesome. Yeah. And I love that a lot of the content is familiar, right? So things like Khan Academy is one of the contributors. I know that's one of the most common things that's used, especially in elementary, middle school, as a learning tool, gives the students a way to engage. But Cartoon Network and Warner Brothers,
Right.
they have Bugs Bunny and Lego Batman and like familiar characters that the students are passively learning because what they see is that's something I'm familiar with. I've watched this cartoon, I've seen this movie, whatever. I mean, there's Aquaman clips and Captain America clips and things. They've seen this stuff and they're not realizing that they're learning in that moment. So I love that they may not even get it because they're just watching a screen. Um
Right.
and the videos are short. They're not these long 15, 20-minute long lectures that they have to watch. It's not like sitting and watching a documentary. So I think that helps too with some of that attention span issues. So, all right. Well, thank you guys so much. I know that this was hopefully informative, but also brief. We try not to take up too much of your time. And I really appreciate you, Sandra, joining us and giving us a little bit of your experience as a teacher and ways that you can see the Achievery benefiting in your household. If you guys are interested in the Achievery, it is a free resource. You can sign up. And so we will make sure to attach a link here for you with this video that includes how you can get signed up. And if you choose to opt in for those newsletters, they provide a lot of really great content to you that maybe can help open your eyes about certain things, but you also get to know firsthand when the new stuff drops. And so you get to get in there first. And as you can see, it's constantly changing and growing and getting better and better as time goes. So very excited to be a part of this partnership with Connect Nation and AT&T for the Achievery and share this with you. Thank you so much for your time today. And you guys have a wonderful rest of the day and reach out if you have any questions. My email is jgolson@connectednation.org. And I'd be happy to answer any of those questions. Have a wonderful day. Appreciate you. Thanks.